गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट. गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है. There's panic in the air and it's in the western. There's a western disturbance coming, right? And SUR has induced it. Let's make no mistakes. And the thing is, there are 4-5 subtexts to this whole story. It's just not the SEO, it's also the military parade. And that military parade and that grouping with Xi Jinping, Putin, and Kim Jong-un and a whole lot behind has created one set of optics and a message. SEO with our Prime Minister, Xi Jinping and Putin has given another kind of a message. But the interesting thing is this. In both these, friend Trump is not there. They say, it's the Western way of saying these things. If you're not on the table, you're on the menu. So for the first time, you see Trump and the West on the menu, and they're not happy about it. And they're worried. They're completely worried about it. Okay, I would also be worried if I'm on the menu. And the reactions are coming in. But is there a way ahead? I don't see it. But is there panic in the air? I see it. And that's what we're going to talk of today. Look, let me also look at it this way. A lot of people are saying it's the China-led alternate global order which is coming and all that. We'll see that. But look at this, cartoon which I chose or I made. It's Mr. Putin who's calling the shots. One has to understand this fundamental thing. It's Mr. Putin who's calling the shots. He's playing the flute. It's not a flute, it's a missile. He's the one, actually look at it, amongst these 4 leaders who are there on the cartoon of mine. He's the one who's had a summit with Trump. And then Trump came out saying everything is all vile, yay, whoa, all that. Now he's singing a different tune. He's the one who, has held hands with Mr. Modi. And he's the one who's been with Xi Jinping in the parade. He's the one who's actually calling the shots. He's manipulated everyone, Russia. That it's actually, if you look at it from that point of view, that's what's happening. But I'm not going there. I'm looking at India. I'm looking at it an Indian perspective. Why should I bother about others? Others will, get going. Okay. So the fact is that we have to be balanced also in this. It's not as if we just have to take off in one direction. Like one says, MK Sundaram says, market today at 500 plus in pre-open session. Look, that is because of the GST reforms and all that. There's a lot of chaps, a lot of companies will get an uplift because of GST reforms. It's not that alone. That's a different story. We'll talk of that in the evening. This evening, we're going to have this in this 3 good generals talk, India as the global pivot. We'll talk of this in the evening. But we'll talk of SEO today and connected issues. Right, let's first go with this. This little clip, no sound, this little clip has put the heebie-jeebies under the West. The fact that Putin, Mr. Modi and Xi Jinping are smiling and holding hands with each other has really set the cat on fire. The tail is on fire. Let's be very clear about that. Okay. But from an Indian perspective, what is this? This is not the only thing from an Indian perspective, the way I look at it. The West sees this as a grand thing that Mr. Modi has switched. Is it so? Okay, is it so? This is actually signifying the RIC. Now, people will talk of this Russia, India, China thing a lot more. But within this, we have another thing coming, right? This, what is this? Right. This is Sai Chi coming and meeting a prime minister. Who's Sai Chi? He's the political head of the Communist Party of China. He's the trusted member of Xi Jinping. But equally, he's also a guy who's doing a pivot within Chinese communist politics. You have to understand this fine thing. There is a struggle going on in China. Xi Jinping's health is not well. Is it? Has Xi Jinping moved Sai Chi to speak to Narendra Modi? Or is it the old guard in the Communist Party who's done, or both? So they want to open a new chapter with India. Okay, a politically motivated chapter. And this is not the first time, what they've done. Earlier also a report came that the Communist Party of China was reaching out to the BJP, party to party. So they're dealing with India politically. Why? India is a difficult customer for them. In fact, the most difficult customer. And that was signified when our Prime Minister first went to Japan. I discussed about this and the discourse in China about what all, about the visit by Mr. Modi to China. He first went to Japan, spoke for Japan, spoke against China there, and then he went to China, got this optics of RIC in place, had a one-to-one with Xi Jinping, gave no way, came back, was not part of the military. Now this is a huge signal. What this signal is, we'll talk as we go along. Okay. So that is very clearly come out. That this is our stance. We are not against China. We are not against the West. We are not against Putin, and we are not against anyone. We are for ourselves. That's the major message which has gone. And I hope people in the West read it like this. I'm sure they will. Okay, but let's move ahead. So this is the signaling. There's a double message gone out. One from India, one other way. And that's how you will see how the West is reacting to it. And I'll analyze it a little differently. Obviously, there's panic in the West. The best analysis I got out of this is from BBC. So have a look at this BBC clip. Okay. It's a BBC clip, and it's, if the sound doesn't come, the captions are there, so you'll get an idea of it.
Now, this sort of thing at a big diplomatic event very rarely happens by accident, and there is a lot to unpick here. All three leaders, in a way, are sending slightly different messages. So Narendra Modi of India, he is putting diplomatic 2 fingers up to the United States. India's come under a huge amount of pressure.
So Mr. Modi is putting 2 fingers and showing them to the United States. That's the first thing he is, inferred. Interesting.
Economic pressure from the United States, from Donald Trump, to stop buying Russian oil. So by appearing so publicly and so friendly with Vladimir Putin, holding hands no less, that's saying to the United States that they cannot pressure India to stop buying Russian oil. As for Vladimir Putin, well, this is part of his continued re-emergence on the world stage.
So, as far as Putin is concerned, he's re-emerged in the world stage, which I told you earlier. Okay, he's playing all sides and beautifully. He is virtually the Pied Piper today. He's the pivot. He's the political pivot in the globe at this point of time. Right.
Standing next to the leaders of two huge and increasing powerful nations, he is showing that he has friends. He's also showing some sort of deference to Xi Jinping, and that's a reference, I guess, to the extent to which Russia has become dependent upon China for economic and military support. And then we come to Xi Jinping, probably the most important message of the three. He is saying, I am able to convene world leaders. I am an alternative source of international power to the United States. He's called often for the end to a unipolar world, to a world dominated by American and Western power, and is saying, look, between...
So the West reads Xi Jinping as the alternative to the Western world. Panic, 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 panic. That's it.
Our countries, we have about a third of the world's population, slightly more, and about a fifth of the world's landmass. We are an alternative point of power in this world. What all three messages have in common, I think, is the intended audience, and that is the White House, and specifically President Donald Trump.
So Donald Trump is the target. That there is an alternate to Donald Trump. If Donald Trump thinks that his tariffs will push everything through, I think he's mistaken. And that has come loudly out of the SCO. And a whole lot of people are opining. And I'll show you this. This is just a BBC opinion. I'm going to show you a whole lot of other opinions a little later. But we need to do a little more analysis before I get to that. There is panic in the West. Don't make any mistake about it.
Now this is
okay. Now here, so what we'll do is we'll go one by one about all the opinions which have come out. I mean, there are a lot of opinions. I've picked about half a dozen. So this is a 10-minute clip which I'm going to show you. And I'll keep interjecting in between and talking. Now, who's this gentleman? He's Anatol Lieven. Who's Anatol Lieven? He's a British national who has written a book called Pakistan, the Hard State. He's not a flashy guy by any stretch of imagination, nor does he come daily, but he's an informed individual. And listen to what he says, right, about where India is and everything else. And I'll keep interjecting and keep talking. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this really illustrates the difficulty the West has in imposing more economic pressure on Russia, because all the Western hardliners are saying, you must ratchet up sanctions, you must cut off Russian oil exports. Well, that has totally failed to take into account the impact on countries, including countries which, of course, above all India, which were thought to be key US partners. And from what I gather, one of the reasons why, that there is now, this greater push by the US administration for a peace settlement is that they have belatedly realized that, this threat of secondary sanctions against India is doing terrible damage to a key US international relationship. Now, they ought to have thought of that before, but they are thinking of it now. And of course, that means that so much of this talk of increasing economic pressure on Russia is empty, because it's not just on Russia, it's on other countries as well. Take these proposals to seize shipments of Russian oil.
So, he's very clearly said that the pressure on neither, Donald Trump has neither built pressure on India or Russia. And of course, China also. All Donald Trump has done is to unite Russia, India, and China. In fact, like I said earlier, he should get the Nobel Prize for creating this Russia, India, China Gathbandhan. Okay, let's get ahead.
On the high seas, which would be completely illegal apart from anything else. But you would also be, of course, seizing shipments of Russian oil and gas, which India and other countries had already paid for. Well, I needn't tell you how badly that would go down in India. I mean, Indian friends have said to me that, you know, if a non-Western country did this, the West would regard it as piracy, and respond with armed force. So, you know, I think what the West is also discovering is that things in the world are very different from the way they were 30 years ago. You cannot bully the rest of the world in the way that the West, you know, got so used to doing for hundreds of years.
So the West has to wake up. There's a new world, and that new world is, you know, not the Western world. There's a new world which is coming, and that's a multipolar world. It's come here to stay. Right.
And that, you know, that constrains Western policy. Now, maybe the Europeans and the Americans are crazy enough to go on with these sanctions against India. But if so, they will pay a very heavy price, I think, geopolitically.
So very clear. He says if the Americans and the Westerners go on with their policy against India, they'll pay a very heavy price geopolitically. And that realization is setting in. And it is setting in very harshly. Let's go ahead, listen to other views also.
If we are really serious.
And this is from Fox News, which is the Trump news, Trump home base. Okay? This is where he comes out with his propaganda and his ideology. So what does Fox News say?
About considering communist China the greatest threat to the United States and our way of life, we need India. It's just a fact. We can't fight them alone in Asia Pacific.
So see, she is very clear. We need India. We can't fight China alone in the Asia Pacific or Indo-Pacific. If America considers China as its greatest threat, the greatest threat to democratic free world, all that. Now there's a hardcore person in the USA saying we need India. Sanctions are not the way forward with India. They'll realize it. It's a matter of 1 month more. I don't give it. 1 month is the max. Otherwise, they've lost it.
We need the heft of not just Australia, not just our friends in Japan, but also India. So I think this meeting is highlighting a major challenge for the Trump administration.
So it's a major challenge for the Trump administration. That's coming from hardcore USA. So I've given you a British opinion. I've given you a US opinion. Let's go to Finland, Euro. This is Mr. Stubbs from Finland. So let's see what he has to say.
What we saw with the Shanghai Cooperation Group is what we have been seeing in the sidelines for a longer time. There's an attempt to undermine the unity of the global West. And my message, not only to my European colleagues, but especially to the United States, is that if we don't drive a more cooperative or dignified foreign policy with especially the global South, the likes of India, we're going to lose this game. So I think this meeting...
So he's very clear. He says, unless we have a more cooperative policy, that's what he's advising the United States, the Prime Minister of Finland. You don't have a cooperative policy with the global South, we've lost this game, and especially India. A lot of people are coming up. That's why I'm going to show you how people are viewing it all over. It's just not what I say. You must listen to what they say. Yeah.
In China on Sunday and Monday is a good reminder to all of us in the global West what is at stake. We're trying to preserve the remnants of the old order, and that's what it's all about.
This way.
So they are trying to preserve the remnants of the world old order, and that's what it's all about. Let me tell you, the old order is gone. Trump and his tariffs have destroyed the old order. A new order is emerging. Everyone is jockeying for space. And one space they're jockeying between East and the West is the Indian space. That's very clearly coming out from the West and in the East also, especially from China. Russia has got never. The thing with Russia is it's never had a doubt. It's the Chinese who had a doubt. The Chinese still have a doubt. Okay. The West also never had a doubt. It is only Trump with his ideas who's appended the old thinking. So let's see what the thinking is. This is from, right? Okay. This is a very interesting take. Yeah.
What does it say about the pace with which Trump has tackled reform in his second presidency that has seen these leaders assemble and ready to present a united front?
Well, to be clear, India is not necessarily presenting a united front with China. Just to be very, very clear here, I think some of that has been overstated a little bit. I think India is still negotiating, and it's negotiating very intelligently.
So as per him, India is negotiating, and India is negotiating very intelligently. India has not gone towards China. India is not away from USA or away from the West. I think he's got it right, actually. Yeah, I mean, you must listen to him think. Look, I know the volume might be up and down because that's what it is, but yeah. So just take it for what it's worth.
So what I would say, actually, particularly for an Australian audience, I think there is a real lesson to be learned from the way that India is conducting itself. Notice that it's not interested in putting a ring on its finger. It is being quite geopolitically promiscuous. It knows exactly what it wants, and it's going to get it by illustrating to, yes, even its allies, that they need to work. It needs to be a two-way conversation with the US. So I think that the message that is being sent to the United States of America is that the world doesn't owe it anything, and that it needs to come halfway if it wants to have a dialogue and a long-term geopolitical and trade relationship.
So you...
First of all,
Well, I mean, this really...
Yeah, I'll get back to that. So the point is, what he has said, he says, look, the world doesn't owe anything to India. India doesn't owe the world anything. And you can't ignore India anymore. This is a great realization which is coming. So far everyone thought, oh, India is a pushover and everything. They listen. They have no choice. And, we have also not been very confident about ourselves that we are dependent on them and all that. We are not dependent on anyone. Let's be very clear about it. Okay? Least of all the Chinese. Okay. Right. Let me get to the... Yeah. Now this is, all this, what we saw so far was from Australia. That was a view from Australia. Now we'll get back to Britain. Okay. For this, podcast on leading, Britain's conversation. Look at this again.
First of all, about India in all of this, because the notion that you've now got three big nuclear powers all shoulder to shoulder must worry people in Washington.
He's talking of three big nuclear powers shoulder to shoulder in SCO, and that put the heebie-jeebies under. Now he is looking at the military angle. People have seen from many angles: balance of power, military angle, ability to cope with China, the business angle, everything. It's just that Mr. Trump is not getting it. He'll get it. It's a matter of time. Oh, sorry.
India in all of this, because the notion that you've now got three big nuclear powers all shoulder to shoulder must worry people in Washington and in Europe.
Yeah, and it's entirely of Washington's making. If you take the tariffs on their own, the tariffs that Trump imposed on India as a way of, trying to convince India not to buy Russian oil, given the fact that China responded with such defiance to the tariffs that Trump put on China, it was always inconceivable that Modi could do anything other than respond with defiance himself. Otherwise, Indian voters would be pointing at him saying, why does China have a leader that kind of confronts Donald Trump and we don't? So the fact that, in a way, China established a kind of template for aspiring great powers to respond to Trump. But there's background to it because the relationship between New Delhi and Washington had been deteriorating for some time, not just because of the tariffs, but also primarily because of Washington's kind of effort to sidle up to Pakistan. And
so what is he said? Look, this relationship between India and USA has been deteriorating for quite some time. Not because of India, but because of US sidling up to Pakistan. What is sidling up? Sidling up is yaar uska nazdeek ho jao. Hindi mein. There's derogatory, but that's how people are seeing US actions today. There's no honor. Of course, in international politics, there's no honor, friendship, and all. It's all about national interests. But the way USA has gone about it, people all over are now saying, yeah, this is not the right way. You want to deal with Pakistan? Is Pakistan the alternative to India? Is that the hyphenation you want to do? There's some sense coming in slowly. It'll come in. It's a matter of time. I mean, we have to recognize our own strength. That's about all. But let's listen.
All sorts of reasons. Trump, in effect, kind of delivered Modi to Xi Jinping.
Trump has delivered Modi to Xi Jinping. Well, that's their way of looking at it because that's their perspective. He might not have done that. In fact, I think Trump has done us a favor by whatever he's done. Now we are at liberty to play with everyone the way we want. Okay? Right.
As a neatly wrapped gift.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it does look, on the face of it, an awesome alliance. You see them all there, and you've got an awful lot of the world shoulder to shoulder. But if this is an American mistake or an American creation, that's one thing. Clearly, militarily, this is a very powerful group of countries. But what about the economics? Because Xi Jinping seems to be wanting it to be more of an economic alliance, helping each other, than it's been in the past.
Yes, I think it's first important to kind of correct the phrase you used of alliance. This is, I mean, what there is.
So people are already imagining an alliance. Of course, this man is saying, no, it's not an alliance. But look at the reaction. They're thinking this as an alliance. And they're worried about the military implications of this alliance. I mean, we have to deal with all shades. We know what we want, but let's deal with it.
Is not a lot more than symbolism.
Okay.
Decisions being made.
Do you think
Now, this is from the Meghan Kelly show, USA, more from a business angle. Look at what this fellow's saying about, right? Look, those of you who are in USA will know what this Meghan Kelly show is. I am not too familiar with it. I don't watch it also. But I got these two. I got a snippet, and I'm pushing it across to all of you. Yeah.
all about the tariffs?
I don't think it's all about the tariffs. I do think it is largely about the tariffs. I think that we've offered a lot of carrots and not a lot of sticks and not enough carrots.
So what he says is we have not offered a lot of sticks and not enough carrots, and he says it's largely about the tariffs. Okay, but he makes a couple of interesting points as we go along. Let's hear that.
To places like India. The truth is that the trade relationship that we have with India is not wildly important to the United States. They represent, I think, our 10th largest trading partner. They do have access to some rare earth minerals. And I think one of the goals, theoretically, should have been to, if we were going to do cheap goods at all from other parts of the world, to realign that from China to India and make more of an ally of India, specifically because they're geopolitically.
So he's made a point. He says, look, this is a political realignment from China to India. You have to develop India if you have to revive yourselves. As of now, the trade between India and China, USA is not that much that you have to get to this. You're 10th in the order of merit in terms of trade. Well, I mean, you're looking at it from a business point of view. Okay?
Between Pakistan here and China here. And so what you want to do is make, by the way, we hold more military exercises with India than we do with NATO.
Look at what is at stake. This is very important. He says, look, India is there between Pakistan and China. The average American still doesn't like Pakistan or China. He's a business guy. He's just an analyst. He says, you see that he's what he said. And India is there, and we are doing more exercises with India than NATO. And that's the relationship which Mr. Trump has put at stake. Even very interesting perspectives are coming out.
To say, and they're not, creating mass amounts of ships to potentially take us down.
Right.
We're a lot friendlier with them.
But if you start to see them like actually realign with China, if you start to see them move into the Chinese camp, then that really does upend the geopolitical order. And so, again, I kind of ringing them. And so the idea was that we were going to sort of box China in. So I'm more concerned about India realigning vis-a-vis China because they have a bad relationship historically. Right? They've almost gone to war several times. Him being aligned with Putin is nothing new. I mean, he's getting enormous amounts of oil from Vladimir Putin. Something like 47% of all Russian oil exports go to the Chinese and 38% go to the Indians. And that means that since 2022, the Indians have probably saved something like $17 billion on their oil costs because of the amount of oil that they've been taking in from the Russians. And so the idea that, the Indians were going to turn away from Russia full scale because of the sanctions, I'm not sure if that's what Trump was going for. I think that was not going to happen. But I'm not going to, say that the realignment here is not a problem. I do think it is a problem. This particular event was Turkey, Iran, North Korea, I believe, was there.
Yep.
It was China. It was India, and it was Russia. And that sort of anti-American coalition that territorially now stretches all the way from China all the way in the east to theoretically Turkey in the west. That is a very large land bridge. I mean, that is a serious geopolitical issue. And so,
So this is a very interesting thing. He says, look, there's Turkey, there's Iran, there's Pakistan, India, China. And from one end of China to Turkey, which is Mediterranean, is a land bridge. And that kind of a thing is against us. That's the way they're thinking. And in this, India is a centerpiece. If that is lost, where does West stand? Where does US stand? A very important point, right? Okay, I mean, I can always give you my viewpoint, but his viewpoint is something else. And he's also made it very clear. I mean, look, the general consensus is fine. India and Russia have had a great relationship ever since historically. Everyone knows that. They're not worried about that. They're more worried about India aligning with China. Even I'm worried about it. But Mr. Trump is doing exactly the opposite.
I think that
For my money, if the Chinese, the Russians, and the Indians get together in any form of alliance that is economic and around the edges military, there's no way that the Americans can compete in the 21st century. We might as well go home. The entire theme of American history in terms of diplomacy has been to avoid the combination of foreign great powers such that we would not be able to confront them economically and militarily. That is why we got involved in the two world wars. That is why we were cautious in Vietnam. And I'm afraid to say that if there's one takeaway from this, it's that China could not have dreamt of a better moment, both in terms of the visual and in terms of US trade policy.
It's interesting. Yeah. Not long ago, I was talking to somebody who had just been in China and seen senior Chinese officials. And they were saying, it's very interesting to watch President Trump because we've had a long-term strategy to basically try to weaken and divide America's alliances, to set America's allies and America against each other. President Trump is just doing it for us. So all we have to do is sit back and watch.
Look at it. Look at the kind of reactions which are coming out. It's as if Russia, India, and China get together, we might as well go home. And this is Jake Sullivan, who was the NSA earlier. Look, Jake Sullivan, for my money, was quite anti-Indian. Let me be again opinionative about it. He gave us a lot of problems. But let me step away from that, my own personal view and India and the relationship Jake Sullivan had with India. But look at what he said. He says, look, Trump is virtually delivering India to China. And whatever is happening, China was always planning to weaken USA and Trump. He's doing it on his own. Actually, China has had to do nothing. So the whole thing comes around Trump and self-destruction. These are the opinions which are coming out. Okay, fine. Let it come out. Let all these opinions come out. Let's look at Trump. What Trump's reaction been? He says the big question to be answered is whether or not President of Xi of China will mention the massive amount of support and blood that the United States of America gave to China in order to help it secure its freedom from a very unfriendly foreign invader. Many Americans died in China's quest for victory and glory. I hope that they are rightfully honored and remembered for their bravery and sacrifice. May President Xi and wonderful people of China have a great and lasting day of celebration. Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, and as you conspire against the United States. So this is after the military parade. Actually, China is made a ass out of the USA in this military parade. If I were a US guy, I'll feel absolutely devastated. And in this, there is, I don't know how Trump thinks, but for me, the way I look at it, as India, if China can do this to USA, well, if China is what it is today, it is thanks to USA. If China had not defeated Japan in the Second World War, where would China be? If China had not supported Mao and got about reforms, where would China be? And today, China is, what has China done actually with that military parade? He's usurped or trying to usurp World War II history and telling to everyone it's only China which fought the World War II against anti-fascist thing. The whole Europe is gone, Russia is gone, Japan is gone, everything. And Putin has played along with that story because he finds it convenient. You see, it's not as if Putin is the real Robin Hood of the story. He's playing his game. So how do you, it just reinforces the fact that you just cannot trust China. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, now let me analyze, having seen various opinions, let me analyze this whole story my way. Okay, with simplistic issues thrown in so that we understand what we are talking. Let's look at the Trump model. The age of normal economy is over. It's the tariff time. Okay, tariff time has got no logic. And the tariff time logic changes overnight. And this has got the logic of Trump tariff and India's demonetization is the same. Period. Okay. USA is trying to recover its economy through its military and tariffs. Don't underestimate the subtext of the military and the tariffs. As per them, they've brought in a lot of money into the government to reduce their deficits. How this will go, how this will pay out, I don't know because I'm not an economist. Okay, but that's how it is. The Monroe Doctrine, is being retested or restated by USA, and that has right now gone to the background, but it will come out, whether it's with Canada or Greenland or Panama and all. Today it has gone out of Trump's vision, but it will come back. Now, there is also in this Trump's model how to remilitarize EU. And he's thrown Ukraine under the EU bus. It's not Russian bus, EU. The future of Ukraine will be now dependent on EU, how much EU can spend. Otherwise, that war will end. A new dynamic. He's thrown the entire model into a topsy-turvy. Yeah, what he has been able to do is consolidate the Middle East, right from Mediterranean to our border, is under the influence of USA. But Iran is showing signs. What's happened in this SCO meet? Iran has thrown its lot very clearly with China. Same thing with Turkey. Turkey is now, it's a NATO partner, yeah, but it's behaving something else. So, but barring this, the Middle East is with USA. Now it faces an omnipotent threat from Iran, Russia, China, and India. The way it looks at it. That's the way they're looking at it. And it wants to neutralize these through Central Asia, Pakistan. So if you get hold of Pakistan and Central Asia, that is why that ambassador has been given the status of envoy to Central Asia. Get hold of Central Asian Republic, get hold of Pakistan, then you threaten Iran, Russia, China, and India. That's the threat they want to pose. It's a new formulation. We have to understand it. Whether it will happen or not, I don't know. That is why my next thing, the focus, is it going to be in the Western Pacific or in Central Asia? We'll have to see as it unfolds. Or does Trump have a thinking like that? One thing for sure, there are a lot of people who are talking of G2. Will that happen? Let's see. And US is completely transactional and unreliable. And many people in USA itself think it's unreliable to themselves. So look at Russia. If Europe becomes remilitarized, it's going to threaten Russia. So that tensions will not go away. The fact is, whatever we say, the Russian economy is weak. And it has been militarily weakened in Ukraine. It doesn't have the capability to finish Ukraine off. Also, so it's more interested in a stalemate. And remember, Russia is playing for its own national interests. Okay. For that, it needs China. It needs India for reviving, thwarting EU and USA. Interdependence. We also must ensure or think, be very clear, Russia has deep issues with China. Very deep issues. They are at this point of time papered over. Their equation is something like what happened in the Second World War when USA and Russia got together. Knowing fully well each other's problems, they got together against Hitler's Russia. Hitler's Germany. Same thing now. Russia is playing along with China so that it can tackle USA, and China is playing along with Russia, it can tackle USA. That's the focus. Now they're now talking of a pipeline, a Siberia power pipeline from almost the Arctic across Siberia south through Mongolia to China. Now, if that comes, the equation between Russia and China will change because the interdependence between them will grow up. That we'll see how it unfolds because that's a 10-year project. Now, Russia very deeply believes that RIC will balance US and the West. It will balance. And Russia wants it to happen. If there's one person who believes in the RIC, it is Russia. Of course, China, it's a dream for China. But to make it happen is not within China's grasp. It is Russia. So Russia becomes the pivot. Russia-India relationship is special. They know it. They will play it. We have to understand that. Let's go to China. China's biggest worry remains USA. And its ambition is very clear. If you put together SCO and the military parade, they want to displace USA. Okay. SCO was actually a inconsequential platform, but China has orchestrated it with the military parade to be a consequential platform by showing optics. Next is BRICS. BRICS is coming next year to India. Let us see how we manage it. We can do the anti of this. We can. If you do the anti of this, China gets deflated. For example, let me give you a scenario. If China misbehaves, just have the BRICS as a visual, virtual summit. End of story. Because from all perspectives, BRICS is the stronger thing than the SCO. BRICS has more members, more influential members. BRICS gets the Middle East in. Or you put your proposals and put a framework which suits India. Right? And water it down. Because China was the lead in SCO, they put certain aspects of the BRI in. And they use this as a platform for the Sinocentric, projecting the Sinocentric world order without USA. They managed to do it. And this GGI came in as an extension of BRI and all that. And it has been endorsed by everyone except India. And China will continue to bet big on technology. They have no other choice. And they're still racked with internal problems. Just because all this has happened, you can't wish away the internal problems of China. That'd be stupid. Or in our assessment, they have political problems. That is why that outreach from Saichi to India. They have economic and military problems. And we'll talk of the military problems tomorrow or day after when I analyze that military parade, because that is a military analysis which we'll do. And they're marginalized geopolitically otherwise. Now they're trying to revive. SCO gives them the chance to revive. No one has bothered about them in either the Russia-Ukraine war or the Gaza war. Like I said, relationship with Russia is of convenience. Let's see where it goes. Now, Pakistan, for them, poses a new conundrum. How do you handle Pakistan? They're too invested in Pakistan. But they need to balance India. And they have to entrap USA. All these three are there as far as they're handling Pakistan. And Pakistan is a wriggly worm. That Joker Asim Munir landed up there. And we'll see how things unfold. We'll talk of Pakistan and this whole game tomorrow. Now they say India is weak, but it is rising. You can't wish it away. They want to cap it at one level, but they can't afford to do it. They can't afford to let India go over back to USA. They'll somehow keep you on the hook. They need our markets, and that's coming through amply. And they won't step back on the border issue. Let's be very clear. Okay. What about India? Let's look at our own perspective. I'm examining the four great powers. And that is the thing. Trump is not reliable. Same as the West. They'll talk today, something else tomorrow. US flip to Pakistan is not a great thing for us. US strategic partnership is over, as far as I'm concerned. In fact, that partnership is also over. It is the relationship which is there. And Pakistan poses fresh challenges to us. Let's not have any doubts. China still remains our major challenge. We need to engage and disengage with them simultaneously. The forms of engagement will be new. The forms of disengagement will be new. Okay, that's our issue. The Middle East has changed. The picture has changed. We'll have to see how to go about it. It's an opportunity for India. There's a problems, but it's an opportunity for India. Khas karke IMEC. We have to use it. And we'll not be on the same page with USA for a long time to come. Let's be also very clear. In fact, we are now on a completely different page from USA and from China. And maybe even with Russia, we will be on the same page only on certain issues. We'll need a hedge against USA. And that's what, if USA doesn't get back, we'll need a hedge against them. And where do you get that hedge? You have choices. You have choices in Europe. After all, the German foreign minister was here yesterday. I don't know whether he's gone back or not. He's given a lot of positive things and gone back because they're also stuck. They're also in recession. You have hedges in Japan, Brazil, Russia, and even China. Thoda. Whatever you lost with USA, if you can make good with others, fine. But it needs a lot of, being politically savvy. And the biggest thing with India is you have the inherent strength of being neutral now. You don't have to choose sides. Because when you almost chose a side, that side has thrown you out. You don't have to go back in a hurry. No one expects you to. That leeway you will get. And people are there. Our GDP is doing well. Our reforms have started. The GST reforms have come. That's why the market is up already. So let's see where we go. Regionally, China is going to interfere with this Bangladesh-Pakistan corridor. I mean, I wouldn't say corridor. China, Pakistan, Bangladesh. They'll try, and Myanmar. If you think everything is happy and great about SCO and all that, I'll take you back just about a few days back. Now, this article came in July, a month and a half back. A guy called Li Zhongyi. Okay. Now, where is Li Zhongyi? He's the director and researcher of South Asia Research Center in Shanghai Institute of International Studies. Now, in this article, he's given a very bad commentary about India to the extent of saying India should be kicked out of SCO. That's the internal thing. These are the key points. I'm not going to talk of many of the things, but let's say, he says India's recent refusal to endorse SCO joint statements coupled with its confrontational stance towards Pakistan and China has repeatedly undermined the organization's cohesion, exposing its structural weaknesses and inability to manage internal crises effectively. India is the villain in SCO, as per him. India consistently obstructs China-led initiatives like BRI, pushes alternative agendas, instrumentalizes the SCO platform to bolster domestic national sentiment, and aligns strategically with the Western powers, undermining the organization's unity and shared vision. India is thus viewed as an internal cancer. That's how China feels. So if you think the mistrust is superficial, it is deep down. Chinese thinkers will not give anything to India. We are an internal cancer in any organization we are there. And we are internal cancers in SCO and BRICS. Increasingly, this is a point which we need to put across to when we speak to the West. What are you talking? You're acting like fools. Of course, that realization will come. Why should we go and sell ourselves? Is the new RIC feasible? I don't think so. I mean, I've given a whole lot of things. I'm not going to go into it in detail. All this is there. Have a look at it. But most importantly, I want everyone to listen to what our Prime Minister said in the SCO. And in the end, what he says about connectivity and things like that sets the tone of how we want to behave. Because we have not lost sight of what we are. Yeah.
अब मैं दूसरे सी यानी कनेक्टिविटी अपने विचार रखता हूं। भारत हमेशा से कहता कि मजबूत कनेक्टिविटी से केवल व्यापार ही नहीं बल्कि विश्वास और विकास के द्वार भी खुलते। इसी सोच के साथ हम भारत को और इंटरनेशनल नॉर्थ साउथ ट्रांसपोर्ट कॉरिडोर जैसे इनिशिएटिव पर काम कर रहे हैं। इनसे हम अफगानिस्तान और मध्य एशिया के साथ संपर्क बढ़ा। हमारा मानना है कि कनेक्टिविटी के हर प्रयास संप्रभुता और क्षेत्रीय अखंडता का सम्मान होना चाहिए। यही एससीओ ढांचे के मूल सिद्धांतों में भी विदित है। Connectivity that sovereignty, losing trust and belief.
Very important. Connectivity which bypasses sovereignty loses trust and meaning. That's a finger at China. He's spoken about a lot of connectivity, but in the end, he delivered that arrow. So this is our stance, which people should understand. Okay? Right. So, this is where the whole story today ends for me. We should be very clear where we are heading. The West is in panic. East doesn't trust us. Neither do we trust them. You look at it in balance, very, 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 very unambiguously. Our interests lie in the West, not with China, not with Pakistan. Anyone who thinks our interests can get aligned with China is living in a fool's paradise. Our interest lies with Russia. Our interest, if today I look at it, my interest lies with Russia, lies with Germany, it lies with France, it lies with UK, because where we have a free trade agreement with them. It lies with Saudi Arabia, it lies with UAE, lies with Philippines, it lies with Sri Lanka, it lies with Maldives, it lies with Japan, it lies with Taiwan, Indonesia, and Malaysia, and Singapore. The Singapore Prime Minister is here. The German Foreign Minister is here. Why are they coming here? Our interests are there. Why these nations have said their interests are also here. You have to make use of their interests to develop your interests. The global south is interested in us. So we are in a new paradigm. And this new paradigm, we have to leverage ourselves using others. We have to rebuild with USA because our relationship is too deep to be ignored. If you ignore it, we'll be at loss. With China, we have to go incrementally and see how we can make do with what we can the best way and keep China at bay. I don't see much trade happening with China, notwithstanding. If it happens, it will be to our detriment. Right. So this is where I end, just short of an hour, and I'll take a few questions. I hope you liked this long-winded analysis of mine. If you liked it, press the like button. And also share this video with your friends. And also subscribe to Gunner Shot and join me as members. I'll not take too many questions today, but I will take for about 10 odd minutes. We'll see where we go. Okay, in case of a regime change by the US and India, I think Modi ji will have enough sympathy from the voters as people. It's a waste of time. I think we should not live in dreams and speculation. All that will not have. Regime change in India will never happen. Thanks a lot, Ashish, for your contribution. Yeah. Okay, Sundaram, Ram Ram, Fabin, Namaskar, Hans Morning. Yeah, Trump saying Z is conspiring against US him shows how much he is rattled. I agree with you, Avi. Vora also, Namaste, Hasty, good morning. French Fry Fury, hello. Yeah, Matar says Mungeri Lal ke Haseen Sapne. I want to know who's the Mungeri Lal here and what's his Haseen Sapne. Yeah, that's okay. Let's see. Uppil Sridharan, at some point, US has to come to its sense and de-escalate the tariff war. How do we? It's happening already. See the pressure which is happening. That's why I showed so many clips. Don't worry. Sundar Krishna, morning. Ladybird, good morning, and fellow viewers. Yeah, Sanjay. Even after the punitive tariffs on India, there is a sense of ease throughout the country. Is it real? I think so. Things will happen. I think India has now spread itself. We don't know how we have spread. And, traders have a way of getting along. All the balls are up in the air. Let's see how the world power equations evolve. I agree with you. It depends on how they fall. What's the gravity each one comes along? Because there's a differential gravity going up and down. Yeah. Sanjay Sinha, good morning and good morning to everyone. Roop, join in the evening, 8 o'clock. Because we're going to discuss India as a pivotal player in the globe. If there could be a rapprochement between Bharat and USA in future, will blowhards like Navarro, Lutnick, present survive? I don't know. Let's see how it goes. I mean, really, I can't speculate on that also. Arsenal, good morning. Thanks a lot for joining in. And Jason Samraj, thanks a lot for joining in as a member. Honored. Yeah, think the time has come for the world -1 minus the US. I don't think that is feasible. We must remember that US is still the biggest player going around. Remember that. That's not going to change in a hurry. Okay. And whether DJT is sorted out during the midterms or anything is a different story. But problems with USA will remain. USA will remain a big economy. It will have its own issues, but we'll resolve it. Let's see how it goes. Yeah. Trump's Vinash Kale Viprita Buddhi, I agree with you. Does Trump have the face-saving path to climb down? That he'll do. If he realizes, he'll do it. He'll switch. Pranam and good morning, General Sir. The session with Ms. Patak was beyond awesome. The other day, viewers, that one major info treat, don't miss it. I agree with you. If you missed it, please go back to it. Okay. Go back to it. If I tried method in this madness of Trump, everything he has done point towards he's playing for Russia rather than for USA. I don't know what he's thinking. At times it appears that he's playing for, a G2. At times Russia. One doesn't know. Okay. So even the Americans don't know. So why are you second guessing what is to happen? Will US bend its views and back off pressure from India? It'll happen. That's going to happen. Be patient. Okay. Given the trade surplus China has with US and EU and its economic growth decline, is it wise on China's part to flex missiles with Russia and go? You have to understand that the Communist Party operates in manifest ways. They're very strong, fundamentally. So, and for them, it's a matter of survival. So they'll do whatever it takes. And what they've done in this military parade is to project power. And they've, for the first time, got 25, 26 nations on their side and very firmly. And that, which are the nations which really came there? Okay, the Southeast Asian nations came except Taiwan and Japan. South Korea also didn't come. North Korea came. Indonesia came. So all these chaps landed up there. Okay. So, and and China has projected a set of optics as if everyone there with, and the only one, like I told you in the beginning, USA was not on the table, so it's on the menu. So he's shown that. Whether he can go from here, we'll see. I don't think, but he'll do. Amitesh, yeah, good morning and Jai Hind. PM also sent a veiled message to China by refusing to be. Yeah, that's a huge message that I said already. I agree with you. Is Putin playing Z plus CCP like a puppet? Yes, he is. Putin is playing a smart game. I've told you this to you earlier. That guy is Israeli and always supports India. Fine. Yeah, Anuj. Thanks for the calm, deep analysis, devoid of imbalanced prejudices at a firm Bharatiya viewpoint. You and your. Yeah. I agree with you. I mean, I have very clear ideas as to where we should go. And that is Atmanirbhar, on your own. Apna Hath Jagannath. I have no political, this thing. Where we have gone wrong, we should accept. If you don't accept where we have gone wrong, then we are fools. And we've gone wrong with China. We've gone wrong major with China. We're not industrialized to depend to. We don't have to go high tech. We don't need semiconductors. We need API. You need small things where you can get China off your back. The day China is off our back, whether we are modern or not, we'll take on the world. Okay. Thanks a lot, sir, for your kind words. Honored. I was very glad that you could come yesterday and attend General Saxena's discourse, because I thought he gave something nice, and he was also very happy that you came in. Okay, let me see. Why our Commerce Minister has changed his tone against USA yesterday? He suddenly turned on the rhetoric. Look, at the end of the day, we still need a deal with USA. Let's be very clear. This is not all about Kati. You can't have a divorce with USA. Right? So our relations with USA are very deep. As we speak, there's a battalion sitting in Alaska carrying out exercises with USA. And it went yesterday despite all these problems. So we can't cut out USA. We'll deal with USA differently. There's a relationship. At this point of time, that relationship is not very great, but we need to go ahead with it. Right. India will always be weak thanks to our great joke of a democracy which allows criminals, traitors, and anti-India forces to live and thrive, even come to power. Vijay Kumar, let's be very clear. There's no different from anyone else. Huh? This democracy and everything is no different from anyone else. One. Number two, don't decry any political party. Don't look at any political party through your lens. When I say your lens, I don't know whom you are supporting and whom you're talking anti-India. Please understand. If you look at it, one political party's point of view, the other is anti-India. Who's correct is your judgment. But the fact is that other opposition is an important facet of India's democracy. And also remember, this government is not a majority government, it's a coalition government, which means more than 50% of the nation has not voted for them. They have an alternate viewpoint. Don't forget where we stand, what we are. We are a nation with so many different ideas. Many people don't like my what I think and write and do all that. I don't take them off. I said continue giving your ideas. If we cannot, if as a nation we cannot entertain alternate viewpoints, we are lost. We are not a democracy. Then we are like Xi Jinping's gang. Yeah, Jayan, thanks a lot for joining in. Yeah, India has a unique position in the world. It will remain so. There's no doubt. There are no permanent enemies or friends in the world. Thanks a lot, Ramki, for your compliment. See again, Tarun, from Peter Navarro's statement, it becomes clear that Rahul Gandhi is America's mouthpiece in India and other regional parties too. I don't think it's right. Just because Mr. Rahul Gandhi has an alternate view from that of the government and what I'm speaking probably, doesn't mean he is of America. He's fighting for political space. I'll give you a classic. I stay in Tamil Nadu, which is completely against BJP. Yet one of the most efficient governments and progressing. So don't take hard stances against people politically. You might have an ideology, and in my platform, there's no ideology. The only ideology here is India. When is the detailed show on analysis of India China border? Oh, events are overtaking me. That's why I'm not able to get into it. Yeah, but I have everything here. And on yeah, Murugesan, how are you? Same to you. I'm fine. How do we harness Myanmar? That's the biggest challenge. In fact, I think I've been talking of how to harness Myanmar, not now. I've been talking of this for the past about 2 years, and we've not done anything because Myanmar was even when Manipur and Mizoram were in trouble. That the solution was in Myanmar. The solution is in Myanmar for connectivity. The solution is in Myanmar for rare earths. The solution is in Myanmar for drugs, and we are not got hold of it. And we have goodwill there. I mean, we're some funny thing here. We don't have a strategic outlook. Yeah, power and strength gets respect, not being friendly and a nice guy. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I agree with you, Parag. Never let a crisis go without taking advantage. In the end, what will Bharat gain? We'll gain hell of a lot. And we'll talking of it today evening. Join us at 8 o'clock. General Dushyant and General Rajiv Narayanan also will be there. Let India flow like water. I think that's the thing. And patience is the key. I agree with you completely, Somnath. I have also same opinion as Australian view in your show yesterday. Megan Kelly show the person is famous. Look, what I have done today is given you a length and breadth of views, different views. from all over the world. That's what I've done. And what is the common theme? The common theme is everyone needs India. As simple as that. India is the pivot. And that's what we're going to discuss today. Satpal Jairamji, why the American failed to orchestrate a regime change in China. What would the Chinese next step after the military show? Nothing. They got no hands left now. They have to revive the economy. How will they revive the economy? That is the $1 million question. Just listen to George Friedman's interview with the Australian podcaster. His thought process is very insulting but pragmatic from the US standpoint. I don't know what he's spoken, KD Raya. There will be this section from the West who will still be, they'll insult us. If their thinking is theirs, we should be thinking the way we have to think. Okay? And USA will think the way they want to think. That's okay. We shouldn't bother about it. We shouldn't bother about guys like George Friedman. Why is India defending the rupee? Economists are recommending devaluing rupee to 95. I'm not very clear about it, Jason. I'll be very honest with you. At this point of time, I'm not so focused on that. Yeah, this is important. People don't realize how they're being manipulated by political parties. We should, as a nation, it didn't matter. See, let me put this in context. Everyone needs to understand. When we started, where was BJP and RSS? For good till 90s, BJP and RSS didn't have a leg to stand on. They didn't contribute so much to our society. They couldn't win elections, in this country. People were not convinced about them. It's the people who vote, yeah. Saying that they were marginalized is abusing the people of India. It's only when they started becoming centrist, more central to the theme, that they have come up. Now they want to push these chaps out of the thing. It's political in nature. And political parties have their ups and downs. Today, BJP is fine. What happens tomorrow if Mr. Modi goes? He will go one day. And who's the alternate? To that extent, if you compare Mr. Modi and Xi Jinping dispassionately, a lot of similarities. And before 2014, if you are a student of politics, I'm talking of politics, dispassionate student of politics, before 2014, before Mr. Modi became the Prime Minister, the BJP was in a mess. Mr. Modi became the Prime Minister because the BJP felt at that point of time we should project Mr. Modi. Good for the country. It happened. I'm happy. But equally, the contributor to this whole story was Congress, which was going down, which didn't have leadership. I still believe Congress doesn't have great leadership, dispassionately speaking. But I see that in the future, BJP might not have good leadership. So let's not, put things in imbalance. Let me be very frank. I fear in India, we will suffer due to lack of leadership, whether it's from the Congress or the BJP as I look at it. Will a new leadership come up in the future? I hope so. I hope we are lucky to have a person like Mr. Modi come back. I'm not saying whether he's good or a bad leader. but he's a strong leader. And India needs strong leadership. And we've always had strong leaders. It's only because of strong leaders that we have survived. Can we adopt a Pakistan minus SARC? We don't need to get into SARC. We have other things. Yeah. Ashok, thanks a lot. Tuning in late. We'll catch up. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Sir, your way of critical reasoning and clarity of thought is always appreciated. Having Bharat first attitude is the need of the hour. Trump being erratic, next options that would come. We'll see. We'll talk of it in the evening. What are the challenges? We will have challenges with USA. There's no doubt. Trust is the biggest challenge there. Yeah. General Saxena looks like a sweet Dadaji, but he's a very intelligent Dadaji. Yeah? Theme cartoon is hilarious. Putin. Yeah, I think so. Salute, sir. Your advice to not decry any political party is very apt. We are people and we should be viewing our representative without any bias. I'll put it this way. You view your representative the way you want them to. I have no problem. Elect them the way you want to. But once we elect them or select them or do whatever we want, honor them. They might be the worst guys, but they are selection, yeah. Yeah, China will be our enemy, never our friend. I agree with you. Yeah, whoever is making your video thumbnails, kudos to him. Very funny. I make it, incidentally. And this is the only thing I do. I spend a lot of time with my thumbnails. I don't let anyone else make thumbnails. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you might not agree. We're not designed. As human beings, we'll never agree with each other ever. We don't agree with our wives. We don't agree with our children. We don't agree with our parents. All of us. That's life, isn't it? So I have no problem with people disagreeing with me. But we should be, at least I'm unbiased. Take whatever it is from me. Yeah, please share this video, share it with your, yes, thanks a lot. And subscribe to the channel also. That's what Sivaprakasam says. So grateful to you. I hope India and American trade deal happens soon as possible. Yeah, yesterday Mr. Goyal said by November he expects a deal to be signed. So let's see, right? Okay, with this, I've come to the end of the show today. Thanks a lot for joining in. Do like it, subscribe to Ganashot, and also join us as members. With this, have a great day till 8 o'clock in the evening. Jai Hind.